The long-awaited meeting between Biden and Xi Jinping took place. The leaders moved relations into a warmer mode. No one is preparing war with anyone anymore, although Xi is still a dictator. In Beijing, they tried to take offense at Biden's words, and then became proud. He didn't offend, but described the system as red and aggressive. What's wrong? In general, the panda is not crawling to Taiwan, and if he stops helping the bald rat, he can get economic goodies from Uncle Sam. Washington recognized the second corner of the universe in Beijing, continuing to erase Moscow from the current political map. Putin again assembled the Security Council and listened to Lavrov's report in the hope of being consoled by foreign policy successes, which are not there. We have to suck it out of Lavrov's hoof. The Czech Republic froze all state assets of Russia. Finland closed 4 border points until February. Now the Estonian government is also considering closing border crossings with Russia in response to the influx of migrants. Another 200 individuals will be included in the new package of EU sanctions, including Medvedev's son, Ilya. So we are waiting for the white-hot hallucinations of a hysterical dad, today completely absorbed in the topic of Ukraine, which is about to be abandoned by the West, tired of the insatiability of the son of a bitch, Zelensky. The Kremlin believes that partial success has been achieved. It has been possible to refocus the West from the Ukrainian problem to the Israeli-Palestinian one. On the other hand, Israel knows who started all this. And even Iran did not dare to harness itself to the same cart as the Hamas terrorists, who were completely beaten off. It has not yet been possible to spark a big war in the Middle East, but it has succeeded in shaking Western stability. France, Austria, Germany, Great Britain, the Netherlands and even Denmark felt the wave of protests fueled by Moscow. And the more violently they shake the usual way of life, presenting the wild mentality of protesters unfurling the flags of Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, the more Europeans think, isn't it time to stop with this tolerance? But everything that is bad for Europe is pleasant for the cave. Although the Kremlin is aware of the instability of the structure during the re-establishment of Putler. In the Caucasus, they are in full swing to raise Kadyrov's successor, who will have to lead the North Caucasian Sultanate, previously hung with awards, like a show dog. The Far Eastern lands will have to be said goodbye. After negotiations in the United States, China is unlikely to scrape before Russia before regaining the lands lost in the 19th century. But the average hairy person is not interested in this. Where is Khabarovsk and where is Moscow? Let them take it. It's different Ukraine. As long as there is a war, there is also work where you can tear off the promised payments from the state. Sovik does not know how to create. He is stupid, uneducated and mediocre. Kill someone, steal something, he does this easily and with passion. And the deep-seated comatose, summoned by geopolitical schemers, goes to fry. No one doubts that Putin will be re-established and he will continue to fight. The system considers the whole range of options. It measures the level of readiness of slaves for a nuclear clash with the West, and at the same time prepares the ground for a soft transfer of power. Putin will still be allowed to fight. Perhaps he will even be able to squeeze out some of the captured territories, convincing the West of the stalemate of the situation and freezing it with diplomatic chatter. And in this intermediate state, we are forced to hand over the reins of government to Patrushev's son, Dmitry, who is already in full control of the stomachs and refrigerators of the hairy people. It is not for nothing that he is the one who is firmly involved in agriculture. He has the keys to every grocery store, chicken coop, dairy farm and granary. He is the king of food, the keeper of the feeding trough, deciding who is allowed into it. This is a preliminary step before the next, higher one. His father, the powerful Nikolai Patrushev, is already demanding that governors prepare for the transition to mobilization economy. The Patrushev family is clearly taking over the cave, planning to build in it war communism, like Stalin's, but taking into account new realities. True, all this will happen in conditions of extreme turbulence, with balancing on the brink of 2 wars, external nuclear and internal civil. But now the main thing is to put Putlo on the stump, at least for a couple of years. After an amusing rant, the bald man will happily get rid of the sticky Mishustin, whom he has disliked since the spring, when during a visit to Beijing, Mishustin was treated kindly by Comrade Xi. Instead of Mishustin, the government will most likely be headed by Dmitry Patrushev, who is already ready for such an appointment, and in this position, according to Dad's plan, the son should gain serious weight in the apparatus, after which Putin will no longer be needed. That's why Patrushev's pet, Nightingale, is spreading disinformation about the dead Putin, warming up the scam and preparing him for the inevitable. People are already whispering in the corridors and on the sidelines, casting wet glances at the shadow king of the future. It's just interesting. Does the bald man himself know? Won't the rat get jealous? Won't he be offended? But anything can happen. And outright, pissing on the king is very fraught with tea drinking.